I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting Chargers running back Austin Eckler expected to be out 4 to 6 weeks with a hamstring injury and hyperextended knee. Browns running back Nick Chubb, MCL injury, expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks. Tonight's Chiefs-Patriots game will be played in Kansas City. Both teams' respective COVID-19 tests came back negative this morning. The game, originally slated for yesterday, postponed after Patriots quarterback Cam Newton reportedly tested positive for COVID-19. Brian Hoyer expected to start in place of Newton. Injured New England running back Sony Michel is out. To win, the Patriots must play perfect on both sides of the ball, according to ESPN's Dan Orlovsky.
Defensively, they'll have to play flawless football. Belichick will have to call a flawless game. They'll have to change their man coverage a ton to give them a chance. This run game will have to be dominant. They'll have to be situationally perfect. I would imagine going for it on some fourth downs.
In a since-deleted tweet, injured Packers star Devontae Adams said he won't play on Monday Night Football against the Falcons, 8:50 Eastern, ESPN TV, and the ESPN app.
With thousands of locally owned Napa stores across the nation, chances are that wherever you call home, they do too. So whether you stop by a local Napa Auto Parts store, Napa Auto Care Center, or visit Napa online, you can count on Napa know-how.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
I appreciate it, bud. Have a good one.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
The Brain.
Hey, the brain got a poop.
And Mr. Toby Tomplek. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Tigers win. Saints win. Much happier Monday today than last. You know the drill. Get plenty of your interaction today and every Monday as we recap the football weekend. Let's begin with the Tigers. Ed Ogeron today. Pretty pleased with what transpired Saturday night in Nashville.
Really pleased with the performance of our football team. Went on the road to get a victory against Vanderbilt. We did it. A lot of players played very well. Still some things to improve. But we made a lot of improvement from week 1 to week 2, and hopefully this week we make the same amount of improvement.
So LSU will take on Missouri this week before going to Florida, and clearly you got one more week to get right because the Gators are looking strong, and Gainesville is going to be no easy task. If ever there were a remedy after giving up 623 passing yards and suffering an embarrassing home loss, if ever there was that much-needed remedy on the schedule, it's Vanderbilt. I mean, thank God for Vanderbilt. And you hear me say often, every league needs its doormat. The Big 12 needs Kansas to stink. The SEC West needs the Mississippi schools to stink. They don't right now, and that stinks. But thank God Vandy came when it did because you needed to get right, and you got it. And yes, for those of you saying, it was Vandy. Yes, it was Vandy. But LSU's dominance over Vandy is what good teams should do to bad teams. I don't think you ever diminish that. That's how you establish hierarchy. It's why Tennessee beating South Carolina the way that they did, very handily, clearly establishes Tennessee a cut above the bottom feeders in the SEC East. And LSU's dominance over Vanderbilt should quiet the chaos chatter of a debacle season. You realize last week, 1 week ago today, after LSU had their performance against Mississippi State, we were legit having this conversation like, what if Vandy, they got a really good defensive line, and LSU couldn't block Mississippi State, and what if Vandy, you get an interesting game. I mean, they're like, the Chicken Littles were out. And that should quiet today. A few observations from the weekend. I think the two things that consumed most of our conversation last week, obviously the pass defense and Brennan not quite being so decisive. I thought Myles Brennan was 100 times better in that respect. He got rid of the ball quickly. He made decisions. I think they simplified things for him, and that was really good to see. Ed Ogeron today, 6 please. Ed Ogeron today even talked about how much more comfortable Brennan was.
He worked all week on stepping up in the pocket, not scrambling to his right like he usually wants to once he feels pressure, sliding up in the pocket. I made him a little cut up myself with Drew Brees, and I don't know if that worked or not, but I know he studied it. But I think we worked very hard on him staying in the pocket, stepping up, and making the right throw, and then let it rip. When he sees it open, let it go. That touchdown he made to Terrence, that free safety was sitting right there. That ball was right on the money.
It's one thing for us to sit here and say it. It's another for the coach to say, Myles had a tendency when he feels pressure to roll to his right, to try to escape to his right. Myles was a little indecisive with the football. We worked all week on stepping up in the pocket. I showed him cut-ups of Drew Brees. It was obvious to everyone who watched. That's an area Brennan needed to improve, and he did. And this is a record start now to an LSU career. Back-to-back 300-yard games for Myles Brennan. Do you realize from 2010 up until Joe Burrow, in that nearly a decade, LSU had 5 total 300-yard passing games. From 2010 to Joe Burrow, 5 300-yard passing games total. Brennan's got 2 back-to-back weeks, his first 2 starts. The most important part is LSU clearly is not reverting offensively to what they were. They are forging ahead with this new identity, and the bang your head against a wall mentality of LSU's offense that plagued this program for a decade is gone. And it's just going to be a matter of, can the person under center be efficient enough to make this a championship caliber team? I don't think Myles Brennan is there today. Will he continue to improve? That's what we got to see. The pass defense was clearly, notably better. You were facing a freshman in Ken Seals making his second ever start. So, yes, you were going to have more success. And LSU allowed just 113 pass yards and picked off Ken Seals twice. Here was Ed Ogeron on the improvements in the secondary. And, of course, it included getting back the significant piece of your secondary.
I think Derek Stingley's presence helped everybody, including me, to be honest with you. And it gave us a lot of confidence. He's one of the best players in America. It took the pressure off of Elias. It took the pressure off of Cordell. But you know what? That was their first time playing in that many snaps in a game. And so their second game, I think there was less nerves. They were more assured of the things that they had to do. I think they just stuck to the technique, didn't give up any big plays, which I was very, very pleased with.
It allowed everyone else to fall back in. Having Stingley back allowed everyone else to fall back in line where they were most comfortable. Stingley on one side, Ricks on the other. Ricks got another interception on a super athletic play where he tipped the ball to himself. That allowed Cordell Flott to go back into the slot, Darren Evans to be a rotational guy. Everything else fell in line having Stingley back. Offensive line, a week after giving up 7 sacks, gave up no sacks this week. Part of that clearly was Brennan being more decisive. A lot of people wanted to see how Cam Wire was going to do. Can you play 7, please, Brain? Ed Ogeron on Cam Wire and the day that he had at left tackle starting for Dare Rosenthal.
Yeah, I thought that he was very good in his protection, could finish his run blocks a little bit better. But, we were really worried about their defensive line. They had an excellent pass rush. We didn't have to give them as much help as we thought we had to as far as chipping or sliding his way. I thought he handled that guy pretty good, very mature. Cam has been in our program for a while. He's gained weight. He's got bigger and stronger. I'm very proud of him.
LSU ran the ball for an average of 5 yards a carry, 161 yards on the day, no sacks. All in all, better, especially considering Vandy's strength was their defensive front. Also offensively, how about the day John Emery had? It was the day that I think a lot of LSU fans had been waiting for. 12 carries, 103 yards, and a score. He averaged almost 9 yards a carry and there was nothing cheap in it. John Emery's long run of the day was 20. His long run, I don't even see it. Anyway, point is, and all of that was contained. His long run was 11. So he didn't even have a busted run that skewed the average. He was ripping that off every single play. And then the receivers, it felt great to see Jontre Kirkland go out there and have the type of day he did. Last week, it was Jeray Jenkins. This week, it was Jontre Kirkland. We all know Terrace Marshall is the guy. 2 catches for Marshall, 2 touchdowns for Marshall. If teams want to take him away, can someone on the opposite side beat you? Last week, it was Jenkins. This week, it was Jontre Kirkland. That's great to see. In all, 8 wide receivers caught a pass, 11 players in total. Gilbert and then the 2 running backs, Ty Davis-Price and John Emery, caught passes as well. When you spread the ball to 11 different players, it shows a commitment that no matter who's on the field, you're willing to go to them. And I think that's a really good thing for this offense moving forward. Defensively, I am really interested to see that D-line rotation. Because if there's one major criticism coming out of this week, it's that Vanderbilt ran for 183 yards. Now, the net was 153 because of sacks, but they gained 183 yards rushing on the ground. That's a problem because you're going to face way better lines and way better backs than Vanderbilt. Last year, Vanderbilt had Sunday players. They had Keyshawn Vaughn. They had Jared Pinkney, the tight end. They had Kalijah Lipscomb, the receiver. This Vanderbilt team does not have Sunday players, and they still ran for nearly 200 yards on you. So you've got to get better. Maybe having Glenn Logan back this week will solve that. Logan, Farrell as starters on the interior, seniors backed up by Ika and Joseph Evans, and then Jaquelin Roy, Jacoby, and Guillory. You'd have 6 interior linemen to rotate, and that's depth, that's fresh legs, that's talent, and maybe that's the difference, but that's an area where they've got to be able to improve. And how about Cade York? 4 for 4 in this season with a 53-yarder, a career-long. Zach Von Rosenberg still yet to allow a single return yard and punt so far. Derek Stingley, a 28 and 48-yard punt return. Should have housed one, but he ran up Ray Thornton's back. Kickoff coverage needs to improve. It was really disappointing to start the second half to give up a kickoff return into LSU territory. And the first kickoff of the game by Avery Atkins was kind of a knuckleball that went to the left. But overall, a vastly improved performance from a week ago. Let's see if they can improve again this week against South Carolina and be playing their best ball of the season so far when they go to Gainesville a week from Saturday. All right, it is After Further Review. Glad you're hanging out with us here. Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows. You know the drill. If you want to get involved, you can. You can tweet us at Matt Moscona at 1045 ESPN. You can jump